Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this webinar on our brand accelerator, optimizing the digital lifecycle. We are here today, and we will be here for about an hour. But I just wanted to let everyone know that we have over 50 people who have signed up for today's webinar. So we currently have everyone on background who's in the background muted, just to cut down on that background noise. But if you have any questions, you can feel free to submit them throughout the webinar through the chat panel or the Q&A panel at the bottom of your screen, and we will go through those questions at the end of the webinar. So feel free to send those in, and we will dedicate time at the end. And we are also recording this session, so if you want to come back to it later and watch it again or share it with your team, we will be sending out the recording and posting the recording in about a week. So we will hopefully have that to you even sooner than that. So without further ado, I will kick things off. My name is Allison Farrell. I'm a demand generation manager with Daxco. I've been in this role for about 3 years. I'm working on all things marketing, all things digital, all things kind of what we're going to be discussing today, and many of it with folks like you at your associations and organizations. So excited to dig in and talk through the digital life cycle, and I'll turn it over to Christy.
Hi everyone, I'm Christy Brown. I have been with Daxco for about 2.5 years. I started working on the implementation team for Daxco Engage. So if you are contracted with Daxco Engage, many of you have worked with me through the onboarding process, nailing down some email marketing strategies. And I am now a demand generation manager with Allison. So focusing on all things marketing from the Daxco side, but also getting a lot of a good experience working with marketers at YMCAs and JCCs to hear what they're doing and how we can help further their mission through marketing. And then I'm going to turn it over to our last speaker, Tim.
Hey everybody, thanks for having me. My name is Tim Coe. I'm the Executive Director of Digital Marketing at Daxco. I've been doing this for Daxco on the for-profit side for about 3.5 years, where we run and manage over 500 clients. We run and manage their website and digital marketing. Outside of here, I've been doing digital marketing and web design for about 16 years. And in that time, I've managed and ran well over 2,000 businesses, including a lot of Fortune 100 and Fortune 500 companies. So I do have a lot of experience in this, and I hope that we're going to be able to touch base and share some of that with you guys today.
Well, perfect. I'm going to go ahead and kick us off. We're going to host generally a roundtable and talk through some different member journey maps that we want you guys to be thinking through and walking through. So I'm going to kick the first question off to Allison to really kick us off in talking about how we define the digital life cycle.
Definitely. Thank you, Christy. So first, to be able to optimize any of these touch points, you kind of first have to define and know how and when someone's interacting with you, your brand, with your organization, and then have a way to measure whether or not that interaction or that touch point is itself successful, so that then you can tweak it. And if you're not seeing success at that touch point or at that area, make it so that you hopefully can optimize it to find success there. So with this, we with what we have mapped out with our digital life cycle is really kind of they can bucket it into 3 stages. So that first stage is awareness, and really how people are finding out about your organization, how they are coming, they're seeking information. And then all the way to conversion. So once they've gotten that information, they're aware of you, they are wanting to join, they are wanting to come be a member at your organization, to the conversion point. And then from conversion, how do we get those converted members to where they really are true advocates of your brand and advocates for your organization, and are going to keep that lifetime loyalty that we always talk about, of having that really good advocate within your community. So the goal, from the start, in that awareness stage, is getting people through this funnel and through this life cycle as quickly as possible with the most amount of conversion possible. So you want to have a ton of awareness, and there will be drop off at every stage. Not everyone who has an awareness of your organization, or not everyone who converts to a new member is going to become a lifetime loyal member. But you definitely want to try to make each touch point and make each stage within the life cycle as rich and as successful as possible. And so those are some of the things we're going to go over today is how do you optimize each stage and how do you optimize each and touch point within those stages so that you don't have as much drop off as you might that you might see otherwise, because we want everyone who's aware to then convert and be a new member or a program participant, and then from there become someone who's going to be always interacting with your organization that you can kind of count on forever. So the goal is to have people constantly moving, and then constantly we want the least amount of drop off possible from within this life cycle. So the first stage with awareness, that looking at all these touch points, looking at these channels, it can be a lot to have a handle on, and especially when your team is strapped for resources. So with all these touch points, with all these channels, let's talk through some ways that we've seen marketing teams stay on top of the life cycle to actually drive results. So Christy, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different systems that you can leverage. Really the best way that we have seen success in making sure we're understanding what this life cycle looks like is mapping out journey maps to make sure that each different type of individual, whether it be a prospect, a new member, a loyal member, is you're really defining and owning the conversation while they are focused through the funnel. So something that our team does a lot is role playing and actually putting ourselves in the shoes of a particular audience, defining what they're thinking and feeling, where they're looking for information, and really what are the trends of where we can meet members where they are. And then once you've got that mapped out, you can identify what you need to accomplish those goals. So really to optimize that experience, whether it be through a tool that you're going to leverage, maybe a different technique you should implement, or maybe a different form of communication you haven't thought about. And you can piece it into that journey mapping so that what seems daunting is much more digestible when you're looking at it from a whole cohesive look. So I'm going to kick it over to Tim, and I'm going to have him talk a little bit about the awareness stage. So Tim, could you walk us through that first touch point of a prospective member that a prospective member typically sees when they're learning about a YMCA or JCC?
Absolutely. So kind of the first touch point that you're going to see and kind of what's showing on the screen. So this piece here is what's known as local Google search or a local SEO. And this has made a huge transformation in the last probably like 3-4 years, is Google has become what's known as hyper localized, meaning that it pulls up results based on where you're actually at. So if you're in a specific city, it's not generally going to give you the initial results for a city that's 10, 15, 20 miles away. And that's something that is extremely important for businesses that are community-based and community-focused, is it helps them out and makes sure that when they are getting these searches and all this stuff, it's coming up locally to them and not all across the board, which is how it used to be. So one of the big things is search engine optimization management. And this is just managing how you appear online, making sure that your business, you have all the right information in the right places, your business name, phone number, website, all that stuff needs to be continually updated and optimized. That way, when you do pop up for searches, people can get a hold of you easily. That's kind of a lot of people think that like, yeah, that's common sense, but you'd be surprised at how often I'm dealing with a business and their phone number is an old phone number or their address is an old address or something like that. And they're losing a lot of business because they're not making sure that online profile is optimized and up to date. The other thing is going to be directory listings. So directory listings would be Google Business, Facebook, Yelp, HotFrog, any of those big directories out there. Think of a directory listing as anywhere where your business information is listed. So Facebook is a lot of different things, but it's also a directory because it has your phone number, it has your website, it has your hours of operation, stuff like that. Now, the more of those that you're listed in that are relevant to your business, the higher you're going to rank in Google and the more Google's going to notice you. So making sure that you're set up in those big ones is a huge piece of making sure that people can find you. And then one of the last things here is web ads. Running web ads on Facebook or Google or Instagram can have a massive impact on your business as well. Just you want to obviously run web ads wherever your demographic is. But these are all kind of the first places where someone can find you and your business. And so making sure that your business has a presence there for them to find you is extremely important, especially as we go forward in time. Is if you don't have a presence there, then more than likely your competition does. So making sure at least some presence is better than no presence.
Yeah. So
next slide.
After that first touch point, what does that second touch point look like?
So the second touch point is going to be serving up content. Now this can be a huge subject on its own, and I'm going to kind of go over it very briefly, but there's a lot of information here. One of the biggest and most important ones is blogging. Now the reason why I say that is the most important one is because of Google being the largest search engine out there. Is they're kind of in an odd business of giving relevant results in their search engine. So with blogging, it allows you to kind of feed Google information that you want to get out there about your business. Now for our website, 25% of the traffic we get is from the blog itself. That is a massive amount of traffic, and most of the businesses that I work with don't blog at all. So that is something that a lot of people miss out on, and it's an easy thing to do. Now I know for a lot of Ys out there in JCCs, one of the issues that you can run into is you're wearing so many hats. It's like, well, who's going to do the blogging for us? We have the same issue here. We don't have someone dedicated to just blogging. Something that we do is we actually have kind of competitions each month where you can send in a blog post, obviously fitness related, sending that in and having us post that. It's a competition, and we'll put that up and stuff like that. And then at the end of the month, we take a look and see which blog did the best. And whoever got the most interaction and the most leads, etc., they can generally win like a small prize, whether it be a gift certificate or something like that. Now, this allows us to also get a lot of different voices from across the company onto the blog itself. So something about it is if you always have one person blogging, it's always going to have the same voice, the same tone, the same knowledge. Where if you spread that out across your company and have different people submitting different things, now it has a voice of the community, the voice of your company, and that can have a huge impact on your business. A lot of other things are, Instagram and Facebook and basically social media in general. A lot of people start to kind of freak out when you talk about content on Instagram and Facebook and when do you post and how much do you post and why do you post and what is this and what is that. And at the end of the day, you want to post content that's relevant to the people that are going to be viewing it. Now, as far as when to post that or how many times a day, that's really up to you. Posting once a day is better than none at all. But you also don't want to post too much. People can get bored of it. If you have a smaller community of people, you don't want to be posting 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day to where you're just kind of blowing up their feed. They will get annoyed by that and kind of walk away. So at least posting once a day. Now, a lot of times when you're posting to Instagram or to Facebook, because those two are linked, so Facebook owns Instagram, you can share that seamlessly between the platforms. Generally, when you're posting, it'll have a button in there that lets you know, hey, do you want to share this to Instagram? Or if you're on Instagram, it'll say, hey, do you want to share this to Facebook? That way, you're hitting both platforms with one post. So you can do that to kind of save you a little bit of time. And then as far as videos go, you can use, YouTube is a fantastic platform that so many people forget about. So YouTube is actually the second most used search engine in the world, next to Google. Ironically, it's also owned by Google. So it's great to put videos on YouTube. A lot of people search YouTube for how-tos to try to learn more stuff. And if you guys have something that you feel you can teach, using YouTube as that platform is very easy to do and allows you to share a lot of information very quickly. And then the images. So I think images are probably something that a lot of businesses that I work with struggle with. trying to get good images, trying to get quality images. And one of the things that I generally let them know is if you have images that you're trying to create, you don't have to outsource that to a professional person and spend tons of money doing that. More than likely, you have someone that goes to your YMCA that is an amateur photographer, and being able to let them know, hey, would you be willing to take some pictures for us? They're going to show on our website or on our social media page or anything like that. People get very excited about that. They love the fact that their images are going to be published where someone else is going to be able to see it. So you don't need to always hire out and spend money to get quality images. Simply asking around and seeing who does that will accomplish that for you.
That's a great point. I'd never thought about doing the having a community member take part in it so they can like truly contribute to the brand. If you're a brand for the community, have the community take part in sharing that brand and shaping it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So you're communicating to the masses, and let's say that you have gotten them through that first and second touch point. What does the next step really look like to make sure you are pushing them down the funnel and getting them to a stage where they can potentially convert?
Sure. So the next step is going to be capturing their info, getting that data. At the end of the day, all this content, all the SEO, all that sort of stuff is great, but you want to get their information, either getting their information or giving them an easy way to get in touch with you. Now, there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. One of the most popular is online forums, making sure that throughout their website, there's multiple places that they can click that's going to give an online form where they can fill out their information if they're looking for additional information for you. Another one is scheduling a tour. Very common, what's becoming more and more and more common in the fitness industry is people want to come in and see the facility. They want to know what it feels like to be there. What are the people like? What are the people like that go there, etc. So giving them the chance to schedule a tour and come in and see that, in my opinion, is one of the best things you can do, because you can put as much content as you want out there. You can blog as much as you want. You can have the nicest pictures on the planet and the greatest website on the planet. But at the end of the day, it's you that's going to sell. Getting them in touch with you, that's what's going to sell your YMCA. That's what's going to sell the experience. And so you want to do that, and you want to make sure that you're offering that as far as them getting in there and talking to you and seeing what is great about it, what sets it apart, etc. Events and programs, extremely important, making sure that when they do go to your website, they can see what you do offer. A lot of people generally don't dive too deep into it on the website, but they like to know that it's something that you offer. They like to know that they have the option for that if they need it. And then member and guest referral, that one is massive. People that love your YMCA are going to want to talk about it, and making sure that you give them an easy way to refer someone else, whether it be family members or friends or anything like that, is huge. And letting them know about it. So many businesses that I work with have that type of program. They have a referral program set up, but they don't tell anyone about it. And they expect people to ask, like, hey, can I refer? No. You need to let them know that this is an option you can do. Refer people to us. Those will generally retain much longer than one that does not. Web leads coming in through the web, making sure that they have multiple ways to contact you. Now, when we build websites, we have all of this built in, but the one thing that you also want to make sure of is that it all works on mobile. So a phone inquiry, if someone's on a mobile device and they have a phone number on your website, they should be able to click it and it'll automatically start calling it from their phone. If there's an email link there, they should be able to click that email link and it'll pull up their email app on their phone, and they can start typing right away. The last thing you want to have them doing, especially in today's day and age, is having to copy and paste a phone number or copy and paste an email or anything like that. That's making more work for them, and generally they're not going to follow through. You're going to see a drop off when it comes to that.
Perfect. So once you have that captured info, really, what would you, and I'm going to actually turn this over to Allison, and focus in on some outbound efforts, what should you be doing to move them one step further and actually get that conversion? Because just because they're coming in for a tour doesn't mean they're actually going to convert and become that new member.
For sure, yeah. So Tim already walked through blogging using social media, videos, and images. So when you are putting that content out there, you can take all of these things that you're doing to drive awareness and really capturing inbound interest. So getting, making sure that you've got a blog that's driving traffic to your website. You've got, social that's driving traffic, again, back to the website, like everything kind of coming back there. But you can also use those pieces in a lot of outbound efforts as well. So not, necessarily duplicating effort, not having to reinvent the wheel every time, but taking those great inbound resources you're producing and then using your different systems to push those out to the community as well in ways that make sense. So we can obviously do that through your your CRM if you've got an email tool that you're using. If you're posting to social media, doing that type of thing, and also driving that awareness through the things that you put out to the community. And one interesting way that we've actually seen people use outbound messaging is through automated messages. So again, an email blast is kind of a one-time thing, but if you want something that can kind of set and forget, that you don't really have to worry about, that it's not something that's going to take time from one of your team members. It's not going to add, Tim mentioned, who's going to have time to do all the blogging. If you've crowdsourced and really gotten your community and gotten your team involved across your organization in producing content, then how are you getting it out there? That may still kind of be a log jam in terms of this process of really making sure you're on top of all the channels because there are so many. So to take a little bit of workload off your team's plate, automated messaging can come in and really serve almost as a person, kind of a head count where you don't actually have to add head count. So this is our system. It's our engagement assistant. What you're seeing here is a message that actually one of our associations using the engagement assistant used to send out information about their programs, about their services, to try to solicit responses. And so we saw, just a quick email that, looks like it's coming from someone at the association. Would you be interested in setting up a call for more information? Would you, we'd love to talk through what's new and fun. So that's an outbound message that one of their team members did not have to spend time in their day crafting and sending out. Because, you can have the best message in the world, but to actually push send and to make sure it's crafted well and it's going out at the right time, all of those things can be so difficult and take so much time to really to go through. But our assistant, our engagement assistant utilizes artificial intelligence, so it knows the exact right time to send. It knows the time to follow up if they haven't seen a response. So it's intelligent and it's constantly taking data and taking information in, and then using it to craft even more beneficial messaging. So when we saw actually that we've gotten great responses from this of people saying like, yes, I am interested. Can you please put me in touch with someone at your organization who can give me even more information? And so that was a great way that it took time out. It didn't take time out of their day, but it resulted in so many different, so much interest in actually joining the organization. So if you're thinking through kind of how to get this content out there and the channels that you're using, obviously, posting on your website, posting on your blog, posting on social, utilizing all those great channels that Tim just talked about, but then figuring out how you can work that content into your own outbound effort and utilize some tools to make it even easier for your team, so you're not it's not adding to someone's day. So once a prospect has converted, when we've actually got an example right here of someone who's interested, it's kind of you're looking at that conversion moment. How have we seen associations, organizations have success in the next step in the digital life cycle? And Christy, I think, is going to lead us off with that.
Sure. So really, once they have converted, they have become a new member, this is the time to capture that data, get more data, connecting quickly. If you are not capturing information about your members right when they join, you have lost that opportunity of gathering contact information, areas of interest, and like you are no longer being proactive. From that point on, you are constantly chasing them to get that information. So if I can drive home one thing, it's like make sure you get the data, because if you don't have that information on file, the digital life cycle isn't going to be effective, because you won't have the right contact information to really engage with them. So getting the correct email on file, making sure that they have a phone number that they are approved to text with. This is particularly for older members that have landlines. Making sure you're getting a number on file that is a cell phone is going to be really important. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in that digital strategy. Making sure you're getting a photo of the member, so that when they check in, this is particularly important for people who have engaged, but just generally having photos on file, even if you were to have a separate system, is important to make sure you are putting a face to a name. And then also in Daxco operations, gathering areas of interest. We're going to talk about this a lot more, but you are able to list areas of interest under the members' information on Daxco operations, and that actually can be pulled in automatically through Engage, or can be used to form reports if you're using a separate system to make very targeted information that they've told you that they're interested in at the beginning. So making sure you get that data quickly. And then the next step is really to meeting members online. Use your channels wisely. There are a lot of different ways that you should be connecting with those members and kind of solidifying your relationship in the first 90 days. After that first 90 days, you've kind of seen how they will be as a member, what they're going to be interested in and get connected in. That can always grow, but making sure that you're leveraging your channels to meet them where they are. It is a digital world. So if you have a member app, when they join, you should encourage them to download that app in person when you're talking to them. And then also include it maybe in the footer of other emails, making it very accessible for people to access information, so that they will receive communication when you send out a push notification about, let's say, like your facility had to close, or a push notification about an update to the group fitness schedule. Also having some sort of email campaign, automated, set up in the background, and hitting people at pivotal points in those first 90 days will increase those that engagement. So also your emails need to have really strong call to actions, so that they aren't getting lost in all of the things that you offer. Something that I've experienced that when I've worked with a lot of YMCAs and JCCs is that you have stretched so many different areas, whether it be fitness, childcare, programming, volunteerism, that when a new member joins, that you eagerly want to include everything that they could possibly be interested in an email, and it can be overwhelming. Really making sure you're tailoring those email campaigns with one call to action to get them interested in something specific they have expressed, such as group fitness. Maybe it's getting involved in a program. And then making sure your website is set up in a way that they can easily search and find additional information, and that you have a very clean and effective search functionality, or being able to find things in your bar at the top, and being able to move people into program registrations, or maybe a group fitness schedule. And then connecting with them on social, having them follow you on social media is really vital in getting them updated information if there is an emergency, but then also potentially leveraging them through encouraging them to share success stories, or having that more community feel in a digital space is important in those first 90 days. One thing that I have hinted at, but I'm really excited for us to talk through, is that we are now able to have texting through Daxco Engage, and this is one of the ways that we really meet members where they are. The world is digital, and more than anything, people are texting. I think that we can all agree that email is effective, but in a lot of ways, email is being bogged down. It's being really overused, and this is a unique way to kind of catch people's attention, and being able to automate a lot of these, and being able to meet members in their actual text inbox is awesome. So if you're interested, we're currently in an early adopter phase. We would love to have some people join and participate in the early adoption of texting. And if you're interested, email us at marketing@daxco.com. We will get you connected. But this is just one more channel for you to meet your members online. The next step is capitalizing on your interest. I talked about this a couple slides ago about gathering areas of interest in Daxco operations. And this is really making sure that you get them involved quickly. If someone joins the YMCA and they have a treadmill that they go to every single day, and they go, when you think that they're highly involved because they are coming every single day, that's not to say that if they got a treadmill tomorrow at their house, they would stop going. And that the thing that really drives home that new member connection is getting them in the door and connected to multiple areas of your community. So if there is a fitness goal, of course, support them in their fitness goal, but try and find other areas that they could get connected on and do targeted cross-sell, upsells, incentives. So if their goal is to lose X number of pounds within the next 90 days, you can do some sort of incentive of like, if you attend this number of group X classes, then you can have like I'm not sure what, maybe a $20 gift card to your store if you have it. And then also getting their family connected. So if someone joins as an individual and I'm here as a fitness goal, but you know from that new member engagement conversation that they also have children, sending them targeted information about the childcare or children's programming that you have available is going to be really important in those first 90 days because then you can then first get them connected and get them involved, but it'll be a snowball effect as you move into the more loyalty side of things because they have multiple areas that they are part of a community. So yeah, as you can see, there are a lot of different stages for a new member. That first 90 days is going to be very vital. But once you have moved out of that first 90 days, they've become a loyal member. And just because they're a loyal member doesn't mean you have to stop talking to them. You want to make sure that they are engaged. So Allison, can you walk us through some examples of touch points that really promote loyalty?
Sure, yeah. So yeah, we're making our way through this life cycle, and so we've started through awareness. We've met members where they are online. We've talked them through their first 90 days. We've made sure that all of those touch points are really rich. So now we're at that loyalty phase where we are really wanting to make sure that every touch point that you serve up to them and every kind of step in that digital life cycle is continuing to promote more involvement with your organization and more connections, and really how you can kind of optimize what you're offering to them. So the first part of that is offering a Net Promoter Survey. So the Net Promoter Score is really to identify who are your fans in the community. So this is one thing that we do through Daxco Engage. We actually send out a Net Promoter Survey on your behalf, and that's every 6 months. And the promoters are the people. It's just one question, and it says how likely are you to recommend this organization? And it takes 2 seconds. And anyone who ranks you a 9 or above is a promoter. So that means that they're highly likely to recommend your organization or your programs. And then the detractors are anyone below 6. So that's anyone who says, I'm not as likely to recommend. And then anyone between 6 to 9 is a passive. So that's kind of someone that's in the middle. So, definitely starting with having this survey is a great thing to do, because you're identifying who your fans are. You're identifying those people within your membership base or within your program participants who have really loved their journey. And then that tells you, okay, I need to get connected with them. I need to solicit their story so I can use that on social media. So I can, maybe I can ask them to do a blog post about their experience. And that's generating content. So going back into the cycle of, that helps you with awareness of having that great content and that really rich content. But then also, so you can this helps identify where you're not, doing so great. So where, you've got passives that you can maybe, maybe one or two things could be tweaked in their membership or program journey to help them, to really either take advantage of the services that you offer, or maybe they had not a not great experience that you can rectify. So encouraging and nurturing those. You want to encourage your promoters to share about their experience, and then you want to nurture those passives. So making sure that you are connecting with them and seeing, okay, what would it take to get you to be, a loyal fan of our organization, to where you felt like you could really strongly recommend us. And then connecting with the detractors. So, maybe this is, they didn't get plugged in quite fully. Maybe they missed out on that great new member experience. And so they, we weren't able to capitalize on their interest and really get them connected to the programs or the services that you offer that are really going to make them a loyal fan of yours. But there's always, time to reset and time to kind of course correct them, but you have to have the tool in place to be able to identify who they are and then connect back with them to make that, to make their journey, to optimize their journey. So this is one part of that digital life cycle that you really want to emphasize and focus on, to make sure that you can promote loyalty and just prevent someone from terminating. So the next part is incentives. So we mentioned incentives briefly in the getting people connected in that new member experience, but you want to keep your members interested, or your program participants interested. So, just because they've come in, they're excited at the beginning of the journey, but then, how do we keep them interested? So throughout their journey as a member or a program participant, you can serve up to them through digital means ways to track their goals, different rewards. There's actually a system that Daxco partners with called Ferrell, and that that solicits reviews online, so they can post something on their Facebook, and it incentivizes that kind of community sourcing of reviews and recommendations. So, as Tim mentioned, going again back to the awareness stage, if you are incentivizing your membership and your program participant base to talk about you online, that boosts your SEO, that boosts the information that's out there, that a prospective member or someone who is just searching for information in that awareness stage, that helps them find out more about you, and it's something that you can have continuously going. You could put up a sign at the front desk, or you could put up a sign in one of your classes that says, hey, post about us online, leave us a Facebook review, leave us a review on Google, and we'll give you a $5 gift card, or we'll give you a package that is discounted. So you can continuously find ways to incentivize that type of participation in the digital, your kind of digital content that's out there. And then community challenges too, different ways of, you could do a social media challenge. You could do, I know that the ice bucket challenge was so crazy a few years ago, but that that became so viral and so, so it had so much awareness. But you can do something like that within your community to get those members involved, and then again, be constantly thinking of, how am I driving awareness? How am I driving more people into the funnel? So again, thinking of that kind of continuous loop of using the community that I already have and getting them really involved, and getting them kind of moving them into that stage of loyalty and having true connection with your brand. But it's also serving the purpose of continuously providing that information and that content to someone who's out there just looking for information and has no awareness. So think through how you can use tools and how you can use technology to reward your members and incentivize them to really stay involved with your brand. So that's incentives. And then lastly, the ultimate stage is, someone who is a volunteer or a donor to your organization. So that's kind of the ultimate sign of loyalty, is they're not just coming and utilizing your facilities and programs and, camps or sports teams, or, the pool. They are actually involved with your mission, and they are aware of your mission, and they are advocating within their own community on your behalf. So whether that is, asking somebody for a donation online, or making sure, asking them to to share about your community or your mission, right up to Giving Tuesday, to try to raise awareness. There's lots of ways that you can use digital touch points to even further those bonds that they have with your organization and encourage them to grow their connections even deeper to becoming a donor or volunteer. So number one is utilizing technology and utilizing the data that we have. So again, talking through, you can make a much more tailored journey through this digital life cycle if you've got the right data in place. So being able to pull that interest from Daxco operations. So maybe, I know that a family has, they always do swim lessons or they always do our camp. And so I know that, that's something that's close to their heart and close to what they have really enjoyed about this organization or my organization. So I'm going to send them an email or send them a message that asks them, hey, we constantly provide scholarships for these programs. That's part of our mission, is extending this into the community. Would you be interested? You've been a very loyal participant, but would you be interested in maybe contributing whatever you might feel comfortable with for a camp scholarship or for a swim lesson scholarship? So taking the information that you have at your hands and using it to really to make a more informed touch point, that is going to really kind of optimize the success that you see with that ask. And then communicating top needs too. So utilizing an automated email system of, maybe you send out a campaign or you set up an automated campaign that's just educational about the mission, because you can, even though you have your mission, it's out there, you think that everybody maybe has interacted with it, knows it, but you can never over communicate about something like that. So making sure that they know, hey, we're a nonprofit. This is, you come in here, you may use our facilities, you may know this one side of us, but are you informed and educated about everything that we offer and everything that we do? And so then again, using the systems and technology available to take that information, educate your members about the areas of top needs, and then make a really targeted ask, or or just make a campaign around what your organization really has to offer. So getting people involved and interested to be donors and volunteers is going to be really, you can use a lot of different tools to make that even easier, and not have to kind of reinvent the wheel or kind of start from scratch on that. So kind of, again, moving them through the life cycle. And then kind of the last step, which we hope we never get to, but if you want to have a backup plan. So, that some members, as we mentioned, people will fall off. Not everyone who has an awareness of your organization will become a member. Not everyone who is a new member will become a lifelong, very loyal, involved participant or member. And then some people may ultimately choose to terminate their membership. So how do we take that group that we know that they will exist at some point? Ideally, it's a small group. But how can we utilize tools and technology to optimize even that touch point? Because you may not think of a termination as a touch point in their life cycle, but it truly is. It's kind of maybe the end of it, but how can we optimize even that piece of it so that we are setting them up for future success of, maybe they come back, maybe that you could even save them from terminating. So number one, you want to have an exit survey. So that's another, just like the Net Promoter Survey, you can learn a lot of information at that touch point of having something that says, okay, you are choosing to terminate your membership, but what could we do differently? What did you like? What did you not like? What can we offer that might convince you, to stay? Something, it could just be very simple, a few questions, and you can serve that up to people through your email system. You can, you can have it available for them to take kind of whenever is convenient for them, but definitely thinking through having an exit survey. And then targeted messaging. So again, this is the same engagement assistant that we looked at before at the front end of the awareness touch point in the life cycle, and you can actually, you have their email, you've got their information, so you can serve up automated messaging to your terminated member list, and you can say, hey, I'm just checking in to see if anything's changed. Maybe that's in 6 months after they've terminated. Maybe you do it a year after they've terminated, and just say, hey, wondering if there's anything we can do to get you to come back. So actually, these messages that you see, there was a message about, hey, are you interested in rejoining? And you could see this, the response was, we were just talking about rejoining. That would be we've got some questions we can go through, but it opens the conversation or just keeps that conversation going. So thinking through targeted messaging to those groups, thinking through how you can surface information to them in ways that keep them involved, even after they've kind of walked out the doors. And then again, continuing in that loop of a continued digital presence. So wanting to make sure you're out in front of them with your content. Wanting to make sure that the second they do maybe change their mind and decide to rejoin, that they go to your website and they're able to find information really easily. So if you kind of think about it in a continuous loop, we're kind of back at that awareness stage again, so that maybe something has changed, or like this example, the volleyball and basketball are important to them. So how do you make sure that you're posting about volleyball and basketball, you're posting about any new program, or maybe you see in your exit surveys, a lot of people say the hours weren't great for me. Well, if you change your hours, you want to make sure that your community is aware of that, so that anyone who left for that reason knows, oh, this has changed. This is something that's new. I'm interested in coming back. Like, I'm interested in continuing my membership because that situation has now changed. So anytime anything is new, anytime you act on the feedback that you've gotten from an exit survey or from a member who's not continuing their membership, make sure that you put that front and center in some of your messaging, and just highlight it in a really positive way of like, hey, we've heard you, we've listened. I think the community, and especially your members, want to see that if they so they really feel involved and they feel like they're a central part. So again, that is a way to kind of keep them coming back, keep them in that loop. So Christy, you mentioned before that our team has seen some results, and that there's lots of tools at the disposal to use to walk through and really optimize this life cycle. So could you walk us through some ways that our team can help, and some tools that we have that can make this a lot easier on teams that are really strapped for resources?
Of course. So we are your experts on all things digital marketing and brand awareness. So we actually launched around the summertime last year our new digital marketing services. So a lot of the awareness component that Tim was talking about at the beginning of the call, we will do paid advertisements, pay-per-click, reputation management. We'll do blogging, content creation, and then full website management as well. So we will build your website. We have two options for our YMCA partners. We are partnered with the OpenY, so we'll build on the OpenY platform. And if you are a JCC, or if the discovery process shows that we need to be looking at another option, we also have one that's built on WordPress, and this is really optimized to drive people through that awareness funnel, from being online to searching for your association, through directory listings, pushing them through content onto your website that is a website driven to convert. And this is something that you can really amplify your digital marketing strategy to make sure that what you're sending out in an email is also reflecting that same level of brand creation and awareness online. And then we also have marketing automation tools. So many people have probably heard about Daxco Engage. This is your email marketing system that will pull Daxco operations data automatically into email to Daxco Engage, to make targeted groups very easy to pull and find your target audience, because a target asked has a targeted result. It's going to be definitely much more strategic to have your data automatically flowing, and helps you save time. But then there's also the engagement assistant that Allison's mentioned multiple times, which is artificial intelligence powered by Conversica. And that is a marketing automation tool. And we like to reference it really as just an additional person to your staff. Adding a person to your staff to do almost like a BDR type role of reaching out and being that person to facilitate conversation constantly, so that no lead goes untouched. And all of these kind of are mapped up together under this brand accelerator, under our new mission acceleration suite. And these combined can help really further your mission and your brand online.
And it definitely sounds like it's tools that help you leverage technology. So if your team is smaller, if you've got just one or two people who are in really responsible for all of these touch points and all these channels, it really is helping you leverage technology to the best of your ability, so that you can really make sure every touch point is truly designed for conversion and designed to move them down the funnel and kind of through the life cycle. So it's not something where if you've seen all these touch points and you're like, okay, I can do maybe 2 of these really well, but the other 5 I need help with. Definitely think through what are some ways that technology and a tool can help me get better at this and can help me manage this process, and even take some of it completely off my off of my workflow and off my plate in ways that make sense. So we are happy to have that discussion with anyone who is thinking through optimizing their digital journey and really designing it for greater success of moving people through it quickly and not having as many people fall out. So conversion is definitely the name of the game, and our team can help walk through what would make sense for your organization.
And Allison, will you walk us through some of the stats that we've seen, success stats with different associations on these different tools?
For sure, yeah. So with Daxco Engage, we actually have seen a 2%, and in some cases a lot higher than that, increase in member retention in year 1. So all of those great things that you walked through with the new member engagement campaign and all those different touch points of making sure that you are, in the first 30, 60, 90 days, staying out ahead, we have seen member retention rise. And 2% may not sound crazy, but if you're looking at your member retention statistics and what that means in a dollar amount for you, 2% can actually have a huge impact in revenue. So we're excited to keep tracking that and keep seeing the results that we see our organizations have. And again, if you are already interested in Daxco Engage, or you have Daxco Engage, don't forget that SMS and texting is coming soon. So that is another touch point that's going to be added. So we're excited to see even how that impacts the results and continues to keep new members and your membership base really engaged with you by adding again another touch point to that through texting. And then we have also seen a 12 times higher lead conversion on websites. So with the websites that our team builds and manages, and the SEO management and the database and reputation management, that we've seen 12 times lead conversion. So that just goes to show that if you don't have a huge web team or a huge team that's devoted directly to managing your website, our team can help out with that. And so we see, when we leverage the expertise of Tim and his team, we've seen organizations have much higher lead conversion from their website and from all of those channels. So all the great, wonderful wealth of information that they have to offer through the experience that they have building websites, across many industries, they're using that to power and really generate more leads and higher lead conversion from websites of YMCA's and JCC partners. And then the third stat that we've seen, if you're interested in being our engagement assistant, from just one campaign, a membership win-back campaign. So again, taking those terminated members and just saying, hey, have you thought about rejoining? Have you thought, has anything changed? Our engagement assistant sent out those messages, and we saw from just that one campaign, $90,000 of members who said, yeah, something did change for me. I am interested in, they just, appreciated being asked. And once they were asked, they said, I do want to rejoin. So $90,000 in membership revenue from a win-back campaign. And that was just, one campaign that launched from the engagement assistant resulted in, $90K in revenue. So again, if you're thinking through the budget aspect, obviously, we know resources are definitely tight, but these different tools not only help your staff because we know you have so much on your plate, but it also is something that can easily drive revenue, and not just small amounts of revenue, but a 2% increase in member retention, 12 times higher lead conversion, and $90,000 from one campaign. Those are stats that show that our team can leverage each piece of the life cycle and each touch point to really work for you, and work in ways that maybe you hadn't considered or thought of, or just simply didn't have the time to optimize on your own. So we are happy to partner with you to do that and help drive revenue, help drive brand awareness, help drive conversions, and help drive loyal members and program participants at your organizations. That's something that that we are so excited to do, and our team really loves working and partnering with organizations to help you see wonderful results like this that really move and drive your mission forward.
Well, perfect. So we have a couple of minutes for Q&A. If you want to go ahead and submit your questions, we can do that now. Go ahead and do that now. We are going to, as a reminder, as people are submitting questions, we are going to send this out as a follow-up we're going to send this recording out as a follow-up to you, so you can share it with anyone on your team who may not have been able to join but really does need to hear it. And then if you're interested in any of the things that we have been talking about, or want to partner with us and have us kind of do a discovery on what you guys need to really accomplish the jobs that need to be done to further your brand, you can email us at marketing@daxco.com and we'll get you connected. So we do have one question asking about the marketing automation tools in more detail. Today we plan on covering a higher level look at what a member journey looks like, but we would love to share more about the marketing automation tools. If you're interested, go ahead and email us at marketing@daxco.com and we can share more. Or if you wanted to poke around on the Daxco Help Center, there is an engagement strategy series that we walked through last year that talks in much more detail about the different marketing automation tools and when to really leverage them at the best time of the year for your members and different seasonality. So, but yes, please email us at marketing@daxco.com.
And if anyone has any other questions that we can answer, whether that is a specific touch point, whether that is a specific stage in the life cycle from awareness to conversion to loyalty, we are happy to answer. So we'll stick around. So if you have any questions, we would be happy to walk through that. Christy, what's your favorite part of the digital life cycle?
So my favorite part of the digital life cycle is going to be, I spoke to it on the webinar, is the new member engagement, because I think that it is vital to get people connected immediately. People can join a gym on a whim, or because it's New Year, it's January joins, and if they're not connected quickly, then they aren't going to really be a long-term member. So that's my long-standing favorite part of the digital life cycle. Actually, another part that we did not dig into in a ton of detail on this is Tim had mentioned it, but is reputation management. And Tim will speak to this all day long, but he is an avid believer, and he has converted me into thinking that SEO management is important, but it is no longer as important as reputation management. So one thing that he likes to drive home is that reputation management is really the reviews that you are showing on about your association or your agency online. If you pull up, let's say, local gyms in my area or local childcare providers in my area, it does not matter if you are the #1 person on that Google search if you have a 2-star rating. People are taking more effort. They understand that the algorithm is providing them maybe the top SEO management, and there's a general trend of people taking effort to find those that have high ratings and good reviews and a large number of reviews. So that is something that is included in the digital marketing services, is that reputation management piece. Allison, what about you?
Yeah, so I would say mine is probably the engagement assistant. That I think is I had an awareness of kind of what artificial intelligence was and knew a little bit about it, but I really seeing how it works and using it myself, I think has been so interesting, and seeing like this really does, this messaging is effective and it gets people so involved. We see response rates that are so high, and like you said, no lead goes untouched, that the response rate is 100%, where I know, if I get 100 emails in my inbox, I'm not going to be able to move through all of them in one day. So even if someone is so interested, in a program, or so interested in a membership, there's just not enough time in the day to respond with the same level of enthusiasm that you would want every member or every person who's interested to get. So the engagement assistant really does help your team, and I've seen that firsthand, that it does a better job of messaging than I ever could dream of. And we see such great response rates, so that's been something that's really cool, that's been cool to learn more about how it works, and then really see it kind of work in action and see those results.
So we had another question that is saying, is Daxco offering anything new for organizations that have already used Engaged Mobile in operations? And yes, of course. So with Daxco Engage, we are adding in that new texting piece, which is going to help you leverage people in their actual like texting inboxes. And of course, we have as far as like something new to offer, we have the new digital marketing services. So creating your websites for you online, and also managing that digital presence through the multiple touch points.
And we, if you are interested in fundraising, or your team, helps out with your fund development team. I know most marketing teams kind of work cross-functionally and do a lot for the development wing of their organizations. We've got some really exciting things coming down the pipeline for fundraising. So we are excited to announce more about that soon. So just stay tuned as we get closer to kind of closer to some springtime dates. Then we will hopefully have more to share around some exciting new developments in Daxco operations around fundraising. And then Daxco Mobile was part of the question. That integration with GroupX Pro. So if you use GroupX Pro, Daxco Mobile is now integrated with GroupX Pro, so that helps just with GroupX management, subs, that type of thing. So that integration, we just sent out an email about that this past week. And then with Daxco Engage, this is something that we launched last year, but having the template bank. So if you have Daxco Engage and you are creating these automated messages kind of on your own, we have a template that within each function, whether you're looking at sending out a program series of emails, whether you're looking at sending out a fundraising series of emails, or kind of any function you could think of, we've got templates in Daxco Engage that are ready for you to use and customize and kind of make your own. But again, instead of I sit down on my computer, I'm thinking through sending out an automated email. Starting from scratch can be really hard, but this kind of helps you get the ball rolling with serving up some content that is already formatted for what you might need, has images in it, gives you some ideas, good calls to action to really increase conversion. So the template bank within Daxco Engage is immediately available. All you have to do is go to that page when you're in the initiative templates.
And then also, this is big for all marketers, that Daxco has been working really, really hard with a group of YMCAs to extend Google Tag Manager and Google Analytics through cross-domain tracking. And Daxco operation now includes the capability to track digital analytics through Hotjar and Facebook Pixel. So that's really just giving you that one level deeper insight into your marketing efforts, how they are performing, and having that connection with Daxco operations and to constantly improve that digital experience. And there's also a question about where to find some of the new digital marketing services. If you go to Daxco.com, there is some information online there. There is a whole page dedicated to the new digital marketing services, and we'll make sure that's included in the follow-up sent out to everyone who attended today if you wanted to poke around and learn more.
Well, that is all the questions that we have, but we just want to thank everyone for attending today and learning more about the digital life cycle and how you can optimize it for your organization to increase conversions and increase the the loyal members that you have within your community. We are so excited to partner and work with you in your organizations, and so we be on the lookout for that follow up. But we just wanted to thank you for your participation today.
Yep. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your day and rest of your week. Bye.